go. There you are.
Jim, he's going to change. Is that okay? Sure. I'll be on.
Good morning, everyone. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the unveiling ceremony for the Huronia Lookout icon. Now that we have you all comfortably seated, I'm going to ask you all that can please stand and join me as we welcome the group to sing O Canada. I would like to introduce the Minjikaning-Kenduswin Elementary School Choir and their teacher, Faye McKenzie. They will be singing O Canada for us today in Ojibwe. Well, if ever O Canada deserved applause, this is the time. Thank you, Ms. McKenzie and the choir. That was wonderful. So today, the committee is pleased to present step one in a process, which is the icon unveiling ceremony for the public here at the Simcoe County Museum. But it's a two-step process, and you may ask why. Well, before our site was ready, the committee was very fortunate to receive a 50% funding contribution from the federal government under the Building Communities Through Arts and Heritage Legacy Fund in the amount of $225,000. A huge thank you to Beausoleil First Nations for authoring our application. Yes. A lot of work and very well done. I would now like to call on Huronia Lookout Committee member and Rama First Nations Councillor Ron Douglas to introduce our next speaker and explain more about this traditional ceremony. Ron.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Just before I introduce the next speaker, I'd just like to draw your attention to a good friend of mine and one of the workers that we have in Rama First Nation. His name is James Simcoe. James is over here. If you could just quickly raise your hand, James. He's our Deputy Fire Chief, and he's also the chair of our Community Cultural Advisory Committee. And when we were getting ready for today, we knew that we had to have some help, if you will, from one of our cultural beliefs, and that is to light a smudge and smudge the area here, because we wanted to burn some sage in honor of our ancestors, which is what he's doing right now. And we wanted to really commemorate this historic event and this reaffirmation, if you will, of the relationship between our two cultures. And so that's what James is doing right now. He's burning some sage, and it's just to help us see a little bit clearer, hear a little bit better, and be mindful of our heart and remember our relationship that we have with one another. So that's what James is doing. And our next speaker is a respected elder and former councillor from Christian Island First Nation, and he has been involved in this project since day one. He has a gift to share with us all this morning with respect to our language. And he has some information that he's going to share for the first time, and it's going to symbolize the relationship that we have with one another. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bill Jameson.
Good morning. Hello. Arlene. Greetings, everyone. Thank you so very much for being here on this special day. To capitalize on the significance of this site, we're talking about the final home of the icon now. It's been suggested that First Nations people tell their story and their important contributions in the development of this country. Huronia Lookout would offer a variety of educational programs to learning institutions, children, youth, and the public interest groups who would learn and discover the natural and human history of Simcoe County. It will showcase the first peoples who came here to live, to fish, hunt, and harvest their food. It would also detail their accommodation, motor travel, trade with other tribes, as well as highlight our tribal contributions during the War of 1812. Other contributions would include the fur and hide First Nations people used for clothing, knowledge of forest plants, animals, and natural medicines. More important, it will show and tell what's not generally known of First Nation history. In my mind, Huronia Lookout presents us with an opportunity to educate the public that indeed we are part of the Canadian mosaic and have contributed significantly to Canada's intellectual, political, historical, and cultural landscape. Best of all, it offers us an opportunity to improve relationships by getting to know each other as co-inhabitants and stewards of this land. Something's drying up. I'm glad our community reps were asked to come up with an appropriate name for the icon. This gave us a chance to put forward a word that feels good, a word that recognizes our past and present, and still suggests that more can be done to improve future relationships, if we could only work together. But I have to tell you, it hasn't been easy, especially when our relationship with some elements within Canada have been, for the most part, difficult. Ongoing issues of long ago are still at the forefront, making it hard to come up with a name or catchphrase that properly reflects the work. Going hand in hand with one of the 7 grandfather teachings of the Ojibwe, meaning Menandam de Moen, meaning respect. And closely related to this teaching is the word Wiidookdaadiwin, which basically means working together and helping one another. For us to grow in a respectable manner as separate and distinct peoples, the need to work together in a cooperative manner is essential. Elders who participated in these sessions believe that an even deeper understanding and knowledge of our respective cultures would help lead to a better rapport with the general public. The sculpture chosen to be the symbol of Huronia Lookout not only portrays that good working relationship, but also suggests support, cooperation, and teamwork. Thus, the Ojibwe word, Wiidookdaadiwin. A platinum coin has been struck for this commemorative event. One side of the coin has the word Wiidookdaadiwin, including what is formerly the Huronia Lookout icon engraved in the center, and the English interpretation on the reverse. I'm sorry. On the reverse, the name Wiidookdaadiwin is repeated with the words reaffirmation today, June 16, 2014, circa from the beginning, basically indicating a new beginning, a start of a new relationship. The people participating in the ceremony will have an opportunity to receive one of these. Chimiagwech was able to get through this.
Thank you so very much, Bill, for the gift of this word, for the gift of your leadership. You're an elder to your community, and you become certainly an elder to all of us who have seen your wisdom, and we so much appreciate what you've done. It was a lot of work. That was the effort of 3 years of Bill working with his community to finally deliver that very special word. And so that gift has been bestowed upon all of us today, and that word, Wiidookdaadiwin, is now all of ours. And so you'll want to very quickly become familiar with that word, because yes, there will be a test later today. You're all going to be needing to pronounce that word as a group collectively, which will be the unveiling ceremony. So share it, learn it, and more importantly, grow to understand the meaning that Bill has delivered.
I attended with our elder, Murdo Watson, about a year or so ago at Ottawa, along with, I think Andy Big Canoe was there, and many others from our First Nations, to accept a medal from the Governor General of Canada. And the Prime Minister was there as well, Prime Minister Harper, and many chiefs from across our territory attended to accept the medal for the First Nations participation in the War of 1812, which is what we're also recognizing here today. I want to acknowledge each and every one of you for being here to also honor that participation. We have, Rama First Nation has our council and many of our staff, as long as our students from Minjikaning Kandassuan Elementary School. You know, just all of you are very important to today's event. And as Elder Bill Jameson said, this work, this labor of love, Wiidookdaadiwin, working together and helping one another, that's what our people have always been about. We've welcomed the newcomers to the land since day one. And I thought so eloquently and so graciously, Elder Bill, you explained the difficulties that we've experienced that have, you know, we're still processing that, and we'll get there. We're not going anywhere. We're going to be here for time immemorial, and we're going to be here together. And I see the mayors of the various townships here. They're my friends. I work closely with them, and I like working with the mayors and councils of the county of Simcoe. And so it's important for us to respect one another. And as difficult as it may be, we don't always agree on every issue. But if we can work through those issues we don't agree on and come together, as Wiidookdaadiwin means and says, we'll all do very well.
Hello, everybody. Miigwech Gibajaik Nongo. Thank you for coming today. Tabago Gigdian, before I speak. Nikwen Mak Gogain Mago Mampian Nani Buak. Before I speak, I want to acknowledge the Eagle staffs that are behind us. Punego, the Abjago, Kokinago. We use these to guide us. These Eagle staffs are a symbol of our ancestors. Each and every feather on there represents who they are. When we pray every day, we pray for direction, we pray for guidance, and we acknowledge these Eagle staffs. They are our governing bodies that we take direction from. This is why we have such a beautiful day now. The unveiling of this icon has been an event we've been waiting for to happen for quite some time. It's been well over 10 years. And I know when we were party to Tri-Council negotiations, discussions, which talked about our history. And our three First Nations, Georgina Island and Rama, lived in what is now Coldwater. We talked about this icon and what it would represent. Representing our people, what our people did many years ago, which is hunt, fish, trade in this area we call Simcoe County. And we honor that. So this has been a long event, a lot of planners, and I'd like to thank everyone involved. I know they've kept us informed, but also kept us abreast from everything that occurred as far as the planning. Even today, we came here as invited guests. So it's going to be a big surprise to us to see what this icon will look like. And to see where it'll finally have its final resting area, which will be on the big hill up by Snow Valley. It'd be great to see that icon up there and what it'll represent. Looking out in all directions, what our people used to do, looking out in all directions to ensure they were safe, they had safe passage, recognizing that everybody had balance in life. I want to acknowledge all the young kids here today. Chief Sharon had touched on the young kids. And it's great to have the young kids here because there's a resurgence of our young people, young First Nation people. Our history needs to be told, and it's starting to be told. And it's not through unveiling either, it's through our real story of what we did and what we represented in this country. So those stories are starting to be shared, starting to be told. So it's not history, it's our story. And it's our young kids who make that mark because we are here to teach them, all of us together. And that's why we say Wiidookdaadiwin. We'll all work together to make this happen. So with that, I thank everybody for coming out today. Miigwech, have a great day.
Good afternoon, everyone. Well, it's not quite afternoon. First, I'd like to acknowledge Bill Jamieson, Elder Bill Jamieson's words this morning. They were very well spoken. And I would also like to recognize the other two chiefs' presentations. They were great. And I would also like to thank the committee. The committee worked really hard on this, and they were embracing of when we sent people to the committee from the First Nation to follow up with. My community consultation worker, Sherry Taylor, got actively involved when she was hired, when our elder, Andy Bicknell, couldn't make some of the meetings. And like Chief Menag said, they kept us well informed, and they would report a lot to our councillor, Suzanne Howes, keeping us involved. And it's an honor to be involved. I'm honored that our community allowed us to contribute money to this icon in today's planning and event. I think the word working together, Wiidookdaadiwin, is the perfect word for this. Georgina Island has always believed in working together with other surrounding townships, with our community members, with our parliamentary members. As difficult as it can be at times, we still strive to work together and do what's best for our people and to keep working together. and it is difficult, and it's a long road, but this says we'll keep doing it, and we'll keep striving towards it, and we're not going to give up. We are going to be here, and we're going to keep moving forward, working together. Miigwech.
We are so fortunate to have one of, if not the most important sculptors of our time and certainly in Canada on our committee. Marlene Hilton Moore was the artist selected to create the Valiance display at our nation's capital at the War Monument. 14 very prominent figures, all created right here in Simcoe County and now there for the world to enjoy and to make our country proud. It's been such a great honor to have Marlene on our committee. The Lookout Committee was delighted to have commissioned Marlene to create Wiidookdaadiwin. Please welcome the artist Marlene Hilton Moore to the podium.
Good morning, everyone. It's thrilling to see you all here and supporting everything that this work has been about. You've heard the message so eloquently spoken by Elder Bill Jamieson. And as the artist's job is vision. Really, how do you take words and ideas and imaginations and create something physical? Because ultimately, if you are making a sculpture that is going to be the physical embodiment of the vision, you have to make it. So my approach to that is to always, in so many ways, be by myself, enter myself. So I have to go inside who I am as a person, bring the vision with me, mine and those of the commissioning people, and try to create what will hold forever the idea and the meaning of, in particular, this work, Wiidookdaadiwin. So, you know, in your brochure, it tells you your program that you have 2 figures and you have a canoe. And so basically, I'm not sort of giving away the secret by talking a little bit about it, and I'll only speak briefly, but I want to explain how I can come to create something that I hope you will find is very, very meaningful when you physically do get to see it in a few moments. And so if I have two figures, which in this case I did, I need inspiration, and I always take my inspiration from other human beings because that's the best we've got, I must say. And so I did for the 2 young men who are the figures in this sculpture. I looked for inspiration from 2 particular individuals, the son of my very best friend, Shane Belcourt, who has an amazing face that I could read and be inspired by, and a wonderful young man from our own area, Raven Kennetakta. So I lived with them, I lived with their faces, I engaged with them to find the story that we wanted to tell. And then when it comes to the bodies and the costumes and everything that's part of the sculpture, for the most part, as much as we can, museum accuracy, I have to tell you, is long, long days in the studio over a hot wax pot and a heat gun. And I have to say, my studio assistant, Nikki Yanuzello, who's sitting here, did not disappoint me one little bit. She worked as hard as I could possibly imagine. And it goes on from there. The canoe, you are going to see a canoe that was made in the traditional way, an Eastern Woodlands Ojibwe canoe, made in the traditional way by an amazing canoe maker from up north, Tom Byers. And I have to tell you, we took that canoe to the foundry, we cut it up into 8 pieces and then burned it up. And other than doing that, you would not get what you see in the sculpture. So the accuracy and the detail and the love and the joy and essentially the gift for myself of being selected to create this sculpture for you is very, very important. It takes everybody. It isn't just myself. It takes myself and the committee and the Foundry Art Cast, who does such an exquisite job of casting, and everybody that I work with. No one does anything alone. we do work together. So I'm so excited for you to finally see this work. I think it's coming, right? I think we're going to pull the drape off. Had a blue tarp all last week, but now it has an elegant black drapery, and then in a few moments we will see the icon. Thank you very much for coming today to celebrate this with us.
So we are now at the unveil up front, and thank you all for making your way around. The first thing we are going to do, as I said, is ask all of you to participate in the unveil process by the word. So I'm going to join the group. We're going to let photographers and everybody who needs to set up for this. And then I will give you the countdown. So hopefully you can hear me from back there. If you can, I'll move back up.
Ready? All right. Don't stand on it.
Okay. All right, is everybody ready? Can you hear me? All right, here it is. 3, 2, 1. Wiidookdaadiwin. All right. Okay.